Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, welcome again to this episode of the interpretations of the scared name of Allah, the scared most beautiful name of Allah. Today I'm going to explain to you about the functions of the heart of a human being, as well as the functions of the brain of a human being, by looking at this piece of art, of which 1000% consists of the beautiful, the most holy, beautiful name of Allah, the name Allah. The name Allah is a very, very, very holy name, very, very beautiful, and it's from this name that we all get to be living beings or living human beings, and also that applies to other creations in the domain of life. Dear brothers, this very beautiful name of Allah, which you can see in the red big characters, it's in an Arabic illustration form, written in Arabic form. It's a name which is pronounced Jalla in Arabic, and it's a name which from which Allah assembled the brain of a human being, and so is the name from which Allah assembled the heart of a human being. When we are going to discuss the heart of a human being first, by showing you the red big characters, that's what represent the name of Allah, as it's illustrated in the format, in Arabic format. But that very name is a very holy name. Is what makes up the four chambers of the heart of a human being. And when we talk of the heart of a human being, because we share this dunya, we share this planet with other creations, animals which have hearts, because the heart of a human being is not so different from the heart of other being creations. But we are going to discuss or to talk about the heart of a human being, and how beautiful that this Arabic format illustration of the name of Allah represent exactly the four chambers of the human heart. I will start by showing you that as you can see, the really big characters has a middle red line which runs from top to bottom, and also we are going to use that to separate the left section from the right section, and we can borrow and get what we call a horizontal line, which we can use to separate the upper section. That's the upper section of the name of Allah. And if you go down, you will see that it has a lower section, but the upper section is represents the two chambers in the upper section of the heart, and the lower section of the name, we said we used we used a horizontal line to separate the upper section from the lower section. So we have two sections, the upper section and the lower section. As you can see, it's written there. It's in the format it is. It's in two different sections, the upper section and the lower section. So the lower section represents the lower chambers of the heart of a human being. So to make that a little bit clearer, is that the lower section, every detail in this piece of art represent exactly the inner details in the chambers, in each and every chamber of the heart. Each and every detail those in the those in the red color and those in the gold color. They represent the inner details of every chamber of the human heart. But also, it you see, it was made up of, is built into sections of colors. The green section has two chambers, the upper section and the lower section, and the yellow section also has two chambers, the upper chamber and the lower chamber. And also, if you look clearly, you can see that the big red characters on the lower section protrude out of the circle, out of the green and yellow circle. That those characters which protrude out of the green circle and yellow circle represent the muscles from which the heart makes generates the motion of pumping, the pumping rotation, the continuous rotation of pumping blood. That's why it generates the power to do the rotation, the pumping rotation, to be able to supply blood, to pump blood into the body of a human being. So these details also are very, they are very wide. They represent so many things in the structure of of how we understand our creation. That this is spiritual. I'm explaining these details in the spiritual, from a spiritual perspective, not a biological perspective, because I never studied biology. But the green section of the circle represent, or the green section where there we have the upper chamber and the lower chamber of the heart, that represent the section of the heart whereby that section of the heart supplies blood to the entire body, to the mass, to allow the muscles, the entire body to function properly. And also it supplies, for instance, when a woman is pregnant, that green section of the heart, both upper and lower, are very, very active and very active and very important in supporting the growth of the baby in the womb. And when we go to the left section, which is represented by the yellow color and by the yellow color and white, that represent the upper section of the heart and the lower section, the lower chamber. But the yellow marking, it shows the section of the brain or the section of the heart where the heart generates a signal that generates heating of the body of the human being, the body of the human being. That section of that yellow section of the circle represent the two chambers which generates heating of the body of a human being, as well as helping the heart, the eyes, to be able to work properly, to generate to work properly by supplying light and enough blood to the eyes, so that they supply, they are able to work properly. Again, that the left yellow section represent a section, the lower section of the lower section in the yellow and the yellow section, the lower chamber of the heart in the left section represent, also supplies the heart itself, the blood, with blood. It's the heart, the section of the heart which is basically responsible for supplying blood to the heart. And also, if you look properly, that this name of Allah is very holy, very beautiful name. It's the name and it's the signature that we are able to have a degree of intelligence above above animals, because again, if you look at it from right to left, it represents the brain, the base brain shape structure of the brain of a human being, the base brain shape structure of the brain of a human being. So if you can see from right to left, the big red characters represent a shape character which looks like a continuous W, but that is the shape structure of the brain, the base shape structure of the brain of a human being. And if in the first section or on the right section, you can see that the green section has a letter which looks like U, and then that W, it continues and looks like a W, but those are represent the two forehead. If you are looking at the brain from the forehead from the front, that's how the brain sits in the head of a human being. It represents the two left section of the brain and the right section. But the brain has subsections. The brain has 5 subsections, which are also represented here by the signature, by the name of, or this beautiful name of Allah. Because if you see from the green section, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections of the brain. But the last section of the character, this format of the name of Allah, the character, shows or represent the section of the brain where it connects to the body nervous system of the body of a human being. So everything that is there to know about ourselves and our religion of Islam is represented here, and how beautiful really Allah is to us, that He granted us the ability to be able to reason above, to have a degree, a percentage of reasoning capacity by exceeding animals, because we can reason and say this is a situation which is conducive, which is not conducive, this is good, this is not good. That's why we are given the ability to have a signature of our Creator in our brains, as well as a signature of our Creator in our hearts, to be able to allow us to dispense harmony between ourselves, between a human and human, as well as to dispense harmony between ourselves and the environment and other creations. Okay, that's all I can explain to you. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.